Have you ever run into the problem in PvP where you feel like you're getting no turns and the enemy team is getting a bunch of turns in a row? Well, there is a reason for that, and today we're going to talk about all the stats on mages that affect those turns and how much damage you're doing, as well as how many turns you're getting. So the basic stats here: attack, magic attack, defense, HP, those are really simple and straightforward, right? So characters that are more brawly, like Asta, who do physical attacks, have attack, whereas characters that are mages and mainly use magic have magic attack. So typically when you look at characters and you're trying to figure out how to build gear, like Noelle, you just look at her and you can tell she wants magic attack gear, that way you can make her stronger. Also, if you go and read their skills, typically they have skills that rely on increased magic attack, so that also tells you how to build a character. If we go and look at season 1 Asta, you'll see that his attack is 37,568 and his magic attack is absolutely 0 because he has no magic. Okay, so once again, he is a brawler, that's why he has attack. He is not a mage who kind of fights from a distance, and that's why mages have magic attack. Now, Yami is a good example of a combination of these. If we go find season 1 Yami, season 1 Yami has a combination of attack and magic attack, so you would probably actually build like an attack set slash magic attack set here on Yami. So hopefully that helps you guys understand the basic stats. I feel like that's pretty straightforward and most people kind of know that stuff, but you know, some people might have struggled with figuring out how to build their characters and what gear to put on them and stuff like that. And if you still struggle with figuring out what gear to put on your characters, go check out some of my guides for different characters. Let me know in the comments of those videos what guides would you like to see for different characters and whatnot. I will be working on a guide eventually for every single character in the game. So I'll get around to it, but it does take a while to actually get all the characters leveled up with the gear on them that I want to be able to showcase them in that gear guide for you guys. So with that said, the next set of stats that I want to talk about are these down here. So starting with accuracy. Accuracy is, well, actually, let me go down here, and before I explain accuracy, it's going to be easier to explain damage resist. So characters have a chance to resist damage. What this means is they are going to block up to 30% of damage, and they can also block crits. Okay, that's what damage resist is. You have a chance to do it. You can also get characters that buff damage resistance and stuff like that with their abilities. Now, accuracy is your chance to ignore that damage resistance and actually land a hit. Okay, so that's what accuracy is. So if your accuracy is higher, it doesn't matter how high their damage resist is, because that is going to help you land your hits for the full amount of damage that you want to land your hits for. So in PvP, accuracy is actually very good if you're trying to make full use of your damage on a character, for example, like Julius, who has a single target attack on his special here, and you want it to hit for as much damage as possible. The more accuracy you have on Julius, the more likely you are to ignore their block and do the full amount of damage that Julius should be doing. Okay, so sometimes accuracy sets are actually useful. A lot of people don't understand what accuracy does, so they don't know like to build an accuracy set on a character because they don't understand what it does. So that's what accuracy does, and that's what damage resist does. Then next we have crit rate, crit damage, and crit resist. I feel like, once again, kind of straightforward, but like crit rate is your chance of landing a crit. Crit damage is how much extra damage you get from the crit. So normally you would get a certain amount of damage. With the crit damage on Noelle, you get an additional 50% damage, which is pretty good. But she only has a 15% crit chance, or 15% chance of critting. Whereas if we look at other characters, they have higher chances of critting. And Asta actually has higher crit damage, so in terms of just overall damage, Asta's kind of nuts, you know? But if we look at characters like this, crit rate, crit chance for Mars, pretty high, but he doesn't have very much attack or magic attack, so it's fine to give him that extra 70% crit damage, because it's not going to make that much of a difference on numbers that are already that low. But because Noelle's magic attack is so freaking high, that's why her crit damage and crit rate are the way they are. And then for crit resist, 54.03%, that is her chance of resisting a crit. It basically just lowers the chance of them landing a crit, or lowers the chance of that crit rate landing. And so that's pretty straightforward as well. I feel like if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments, but I feel like those three are fairly straightforward. I don't want to spend, too much time just waffling on about them. But now we get to the really important stuff that confuses a lot of people. We have speed, penetration, and endurance. I'm going to save speed for last, okay? So let's start with penetration and endurance. Endurance is your, how much extra defense you have, I guess, or it's the chance of blocking penetration, in other words. So if you have 57 endurance, that means you are going to lower their chance of penetrating your defense by that much. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. If you have penetration, you have 106 penetration, you have that much of a chance to ignore part of their defense and do extra damage to them. So that is penetration and endurance, okay? I know endurance can be a little bit confusing when you compare it to defense because people are like, okay, so defense and endurance are the same. No, endurance is like basically lowering the number or lowering the chance of them penetrating your defense, okay? So that's what endurance does. It lowers the number on penetration or lowers the chance of them penetrating your defense and doing extra damage. That is penetration and defense. Speed, on the other hand, speed is the one that definitely confuses people, and I'll actually show you guys a match to explain this one more. But speed and mobility are two very big things in the game. So you'll notice that if you look at certain characters, we'll go ahead and take Lotus, for example, and you look at his ultimate, he has a 50% chance to inflict a reduced speed level 3 debuff on an enemy for 2 turns. And when you reduce speed, it reduces their speed by 55%. So why, if you are reducing speed with Lotus, are characters who are being buffed by like Valtos, for example, who get Valtos gives mobility, why are those characters still going faster than you and stuff like that? Okay, so basically put, speed changes how fast your mobility gauge raises up or goes down. Okay, so if you have characters like Julius who completely deplete mobility, he can deplete your mobility gauge and deplete the amount of turns that you get, in other words, and he can reduce, and then your speed doesn't matter, right? But if you have two characters who have the same speed and you buff one character's speed and they have the same mobility, then that character who had buff speed is going to get the first turn. It's really confusing to explain it this way, so I'm going to just hop into a match and show you guys because it's much easier to explain speed and mobility that way. So in a match, whenever you guys are taking on Arena or you're taking on PvE content, you want to make sure you are paying attention to your mobility gauge. So if you see down here, everybody has full mobility, and if you look over here, Noel has like no mobility, and Julius has no mobility because he just used a skill. However, on the other hand, Mimosa and Mars have a pretty high mobility. Now, the reason I am going here before these other characters, even though Julius was faster, is because the rest of my character's speed is higher than them, so it means my mobility gauge fills faster. This is your mobility gauge down here, the little yellow bar, and so basically the more speed you have, the faster that gauge is going to fill up, the more turns you're going to get. So even though I'm going to deplete Lotus's mobility gauge here by using his skill, and then Julius is probably going to go and I'm going to deplete his gauge, if my gauges come back up faster than theirs, that means I'm going to get more turns, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this. And it's going to, actually, I'm not going to do that because Noelle did her barrier, right? So we're going to do this on Mimosa. Yeah, let's go ahead and, well, actually, no. Oh, this one's tough. Actually, let's just do the incapacitate. We'll take the chance. We are going to get countered. It's a little bit annoying, but it is what it is. Oh, the counter actually went on to Julius. Let's go. All right, and then now we're going to do this. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and target Noelle here. And she's dead. We get an extra turn. That's because of Julius's passive. That has nothing to do with speed or mobility right there. But we get an extra turn, so that's good. Go ahead and use it. We get countered. It's fine. Not a big deal. We're going to go ahead and get the healing going with Charmy. And notice right here, though, my mobility gauge is at 0. And if we... Let me see if I can get off this here. Take a look at them. He also has a mobility gauge of 0 because we depleted his mobility, but mine's a little bit higher. So I will actually get a turn with my Julius before they get a turn with their Julius, or I should at least. And I might, potentially, if my bar fills up fast enough, get a turn before their Mimosa or their Mars, depending on speed. So like right now, my Mars bar is full and their Mars bar is full. It's Mars bar. But if I have higher speed, which I should, if I decrease their speed. I haven't actually decreased their speed because I had debuff immunity, but if I had higher speed, I would go first. So that's the difference between speed and mobility. So let's go ahead and actually heal everybody, see what happens here. All right, their Mars was faster. He actually had more speed there, so he got to go first, unfortunately. Now my Mars gets to go. His mobility bar is depleted, but we both had the same mobility at that point in time, remember? He was just faster, which is where the speed comes in. All right, now I am not able to use my combo attack, which is really annoying. We'll go ahead and we'll do this on Mimosa. She's going to revive, that's fine. We have turn loss with Julius, which is tragic. Julius actually came back up with a turn. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, okay, he went after Mars. We're actually good. We're chilling. We'll heal. And notice they seem to be getting more turns because of stuns and stuff like that. All right, our mobility is back up. Our mobility came up before Julius because of the mobility depletion that we did on him. We should be able to kill Noelle here. Pretty close, pretty close. Mobility depletion on Noelle, though, so she lost some mobility. We're going to do reduced speed on everybody. That's going to help us out a lot. All right, now Charmy's bar is full. And because we reduce speed on others, that means we're going to get to go first. Charmy should... Oh, she almost killed right there. We heal with her, though, at least. All right, now we can do the combo attack. This is going to reduce speed of everybody. Oops. Okay, now all their speed's reduced. All their mobility gauges are down. We are good. And now we just go ahead and we should be able to kill Julius here, I think. Like revive when we do kill him eventually. Reduce their speed and mobility. And this team is really good. I did a showcase on it in a separate video. If you guys haven't checked that out yet, go check that out. But then we'll go ahead and let's kill Mimosa, actually. We don't want her reviving or healing, which could be really annoying. And anyways, yeah, I'm not going to make you guys watch the rest of this, but that is how speed and mobility work. Mobility gauge on the bottom. If you guys both have mobility gauges filled, whoever has the higher speed gets to go first. Pretty straightforward once you look at it like that in game, but without actually looking at it, it can definitely be confusing for people. So hopefully that helps you out. Hopefully that helps you do a little bit better in arena and climb a little bit better. Hopefully all of those stats helped you guys out a little bit. And let's talk about the different buffs in the game really quickly that can affect these stats. So in case you guys didn't know this, I know it's kind of like a hidden button or a small button that a lot of people don't utilize or notice is there, but there is a question mark button. And this might be one of the most like helpful help pages I've ever seen in a gacha game. It's actually insanely good. But if you go to battle here and you scroll down to buff types, you can actually check out all the different buffs in the game and all the different debuffs and stuff like that. I'm not going to waste too much of your time going over these, but like Fortify, in case you ever wondered what that was, its damage taken is reduced by a fixed amount. Usually the character that does Fortify tells you how much they're fortifying for, and that's just going to help you take less damage overall. There's Weapon Enhancement is another big one, where damage inflicted is increased by a fixed amount. Usually it's a certain percentage. It'll tell you on the character how much extra damage you're doing and stuff like that. So there's a bunch of different buffs listed here, and there's also debuffs on another page listed. So this explains immortality, endurance buffs, and all that stuff, like how it's actually affecting your characters and stuff like that. But I think if you guys got a basic like understanding and concept of these stats, then you should probably understand how those things work. And of course, if you don't understand like what they do, you can always read over here. It pops up and tells you like how much it increases your magic attack by, how much it increases your fortify by, so on and so forth. You know, it's pretty straightforward, but hopefully this helps you guys out. And if you guys enjoyed the video, please consider going down there, hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.
Can anybody out there